Okay, today's date is April 18th, 1991, and this is Karen Miller performing an oral interview for the Arthurdale Heritage Group. Okay, what is your name?
My name is Jettie Eble.
Okay, and what was the name of your parents?
My folks were John A. and Dora Boggs.
Okay, and what is your address currently?
Post Office Box 115, Arthurdale, 26520.
Okay, where do you live in Arthurdale?
We live on F Road.
Okay, and where and when were you born?
I was born in 1920 in Braxton County, a small community called Chapel, West Virginia.
Okay. When did you come to Arthurdale?
I came in 1934 to Arthurdale, but we had lived nearby a year before while my dad was working here in Arthurdale.
Okay. Were your parents then among the original first 50 that came?
Yes, we were.
Okay. When you came to Arthurdale?
I was 13, I believe, when I came to Arthurdale.
Okay, why did your family move to Arthurdale?
My father was a miner, and work was scarce at that time. We were living in a small community about 5 miles out from Morgantown on the River Road, and it was called Hildebrand. And so work being scarce, he had gone to work, and that if he would go and maybe sign up, that there might be some work in Preston County. So he did.
The real big reasons was because no running water in the house, a miner's shack, or whatever.
Okay. Was that a reason too, the improved living conditions?
Well, there's no work, there's no money coming in to support a family, so if he could better the family, he would.
Okay, have you lived in Arthurdale your entire life?
Since 1934, I finished high school in 1939, and I got married, and we moved back over to Reedsville, just about a mile and a half from here. Lived there for about a little better than a year, and then we got a chance to move back here on F Road, and
okay.
I was married then, and we raised our 3 children right here on F Road.
Why did you come back to Arthurdale?
It was an opportunity to come back into the community that I had spent a lot of time in and went to school. My mother still lived here in Arthurdale. It was close to her.
Okay, even though Reedsville was pretty close, it seems like Arthurdale's still that much of a separate community.
Yes, it was. I had roots that. I'm the only one that actually stayed in Arthurdale.
Okay. Well, what was it like growing up in Arthurdale? You came here when you were about 13, so what was it like living in Arthurdale?
Well, it was exciting, of course. We were anxious for school to start because we'd gotten acquainted with our new neighbors, and they told us that we would be going to school in the old mansion on the hill because the new school buildings were not yet, I don't know if they were under construction, but we knew they would be new school buildings. So the 8th grade, I went in the old Arthur Mansion on the hill, and we had a real good time. With a lot of teachers that were very interesting and had a lot of interesting subjects for us. And we had a real experience that year. Then the next 4 years were in the new school buildings. My 4 high school years were in the new school.
How large were your classes?
The class that I was in, we had 6 boys and 6 girls.
Yeah, even numbers.
Yes.
Okay, when you attended school in Arthurdale, were you part of the progressive education system?
Yes, that was very early in the program, and everything was new, and the teachers were real exceptional. They really were, because they knew that a lot of us that were coming in from communities like we had come from, had not had opportunity like some children had had, so they knew that we needed to catch up with, a lot of other social graces and newspapers and books and things like that we hadn't had opportunity to have very much
Did you
a part
like the
of.
progressive education system?
Oh, yes, yes. Reading is fine to read out of a book and take a test. That's great. But when you get to have a hands-on project, or you see the thing, or are involved in doing it, it's more exciting, I think, and it stimulates you more. I think you remember better if you're really involved in projects pertaining to subjects.
Did it cause you anybody any problems, like when they tried to go on to school, maybe that they had been in that type of education?
No.
Okay. What did children do for recreation in Arthurdale?
Let's see, what did we do? We attended all the school activities that we had, and we did have some real exciting things. We did an Easter cantata. We had some plays that at the gym we would perform. We had some singing groups. Some of the older families played instruments and square danced and did some other jig dances, that kind of thing. We had the Boy Scouts, Parent-Teacher Association. That was always got us together, and we did a lot of things for our school to help match funds for things for the school. There was always church activity, and was a choir at the church. My daughter sang in the choir.
What about Little League? Was there anything like the Little League?
Not in the beginning, not for a long time. They did have a softball team during the high school that I was in, but I was never involved in the ball games.
Okay.
That's much better. And communication, I think, would be better the closer you are to your school.
Okay. You mentioned previously that your two sons had went to Masontown.
Yes.
How many children do you have?
I had two sons and a daughter, and of course my daughter also followed to Masontown, and they all three graduated.
What are their names?
My oldest son is James Ralph. Second son is Jack Duane, and my daughter her real name is Iretta Jean, but we always called her just Jean.
Do they live in Arthurdale?
My son Jack does. He lives out the street here, less than a quarter of a mile out. Yes.
Okay. Did you or do you work in Arthurdale or connected to Arthurdale? Tell me about working.
When my daughter was going to nursing school, I worked at Reedsville for the factory, Sterling Faucet, at their credit union. It was a part-time job, and it was 3 days a week, and that way I helped her get through her year of nurses training in Morgantown.
Okay, and that was the Arthurdale factories, right?
Yes.
With that location.
The Heritage Association, and I joined, of course, and helped some. We've made some contributions, and to see things come along as well as they have, I am really happy, really excited and happy for our future of restoration and preservation of history, because this is history. This is being written still.
Do you think the preservation efforts have brought the community closer together again?
Yes, I think they could see opportunity to help restore what we had at one time.